Welcome, Scorpio. This is Regina from Pacific Tarot, getting ready to do your full moon in Libra reading occurring on April 1st or April Fool's Day in the North in the U.S. Not sure how widely appropriate or applicable that energy is, but I do feel that it applies a trickster energy to this idea of the rising goddess, the seasonal shift, whether in the northern hemisphere, the spring equinox, or the southern hemisphere, the autumn equinox. It is accommodating this rising sense of anger as in empowerment rather than this vengeful or rageful expression of, of energy, which we see around us in the world as uncontrollable chaos centered around anger, will, desire, want, selfish uh, um, uh, accumulation. So this is really about acknowledging our gifts, our range of gifts, the full gifts we have that are in some ways a challenge to our social ideas of beauty, of excellence, of balance, of love, of exchange. This is putting a challenge to perfectionism that requires us to look or act a certain way, that doesn't acknowledge the range and power of our gifts. I pulled for you from the Energy Archaeology deck, Blessings and Burden. And I don't know why I keep getting a sense of deja vu with this card and these cards in general, not just for you, Scorpio, but perhaps it is the persistence and the power of the lessons we are learning at this time. They're very big, and this card, when in balance, relates to the keywords understanding and empathy. And from the wisdom, I read, the weight of repression is a heavy one. Carrying the energy of physical, mental, and emotional injury is something you should never need to do. There's a heaviness to things you were too young to understand, process, or be asked to hold. But the weight of these burdens needs to be measured carefully because they help shape you into who you are today. Take each burden one by one, stare at their intricacies and marvel at what you thought they were, the meaning you made of them. See their pain-weathered surfaces and allow yourself to connect to the feelings you may wish you could leave buried here at your shoulder. There's no rush to acceptance, healing, or finding a falsely glinting silver lining. This bone does not tell you that everything happens for a reason. It simply helps you hold what happened. Your truth is the blessing, the courage to own your specific and unique pain and yet understand that it doesn't mean anything about you, is a gift to give yourself and a freedom you let loose upon the world. So incredibly profound and relevant to any of you, whether you have Scorpio assignments or not, to pay attention to that shoulder pain, whether left or right. And this is coupled with gratitude. And this is just so profoundly rich for particularly those of you that are creators. And by creators, that is inclusive of activism. I do believe that the creative impulse is meant to be declarative, to make a statement, to lift up principles of living together on earth, the reality and the dream. I'm thankful for this life and the opportunities it presents. This is really about recognizing that all your experiences are what have defined you. And for many, particularly the painful ones, because those are the ones we have to learn and understand at the deepest level of our souls. The Justice card is your overall energy. And this is about this balance, right? The sense of being a victim, being too young to be in control or have the ability to protect yourself from mistreatment, injustice, even neglect, or the ignorance of your caretakers. And I mean ignorance in the most benign way. And there's undoubtedly a better word for it, but the ignorance of parents that don't yet know who their child is becoming, only understand what they wish for their child and ways to protect their child to be able to enjoy those benefits that they see, that they imagine, that they wish for their child. So moving from a place where you were put upon to a place where you understand the gifts in those lessons, the lessons learned, and how it relates you to so many others in the world who have shared your experiences, making you an advocate, a voice to those who have suffered. In the 10th house, the house of your social identity, the way others see you. And in some ways, the Emperor here it's always attributed Aries, but I don't know how that can be. The Emperor is wizened, realized, has manifested strategically, and that aligns in my mind much more closely with the experience of Scorpio. This is not trying to be in control of others or things you can't control, but rather being in control of yourself. So the Emperor here is really about this sense of sovereignty, of ownership of your reality, with the distinct awareness that this is something you build. This is the reality you make, and that you alone are responsible for your reality. This translates to a sense of empowerment, the experience of knowing that you are able to gain the resources, the benefit, the gifts, the experience that you desire, and able to leverage that for a host of community, partners, family, loved ones, the world. In the first house, 2 cards, the 9 of Swords and the Knight of Swords. So interesting how you are, even in this moment, probing for the opportunity for the gold in the heartbreak, the suffering, and the pain that you have endured, most likely from childhood. It also puts you in direct empathetic connection to those who are suffering from acts of war, hunger, starvation, exclusion. This is helping you to solve those problems in some way. You're putting your attention, your ideas, your problem solving towards those that have suffered acts of war, acts of violence, acts of exclusion, lack of resources. This is you extending your own experiences out into the world in a way that understands deeply the impact, particularly when, as a child, you don't understand the experiences you're going through, particularly the violence, the abuse that you may be experiencing. But you are taking a word, a pen, a letter, a narrative to this experience for vast numbers of people, and you are creatively documenting, recording that, so that others can more clearly take up the mantle and understand the nature of the problem. In the 4th house, the house of your home, your soul, your foundation, and your family. The Wheel of Fortune is a kind of reversal of karma. You've endured this hardship. You've weathered these experiences, experiences that can be devastating, that can absolutely test your endurance and your ability to find that uh, gift, find that lesson, find that learning. And as a result of that, you are experiencing this, what I call karma, so that you can now do something about it. You can understand it better. You can solve these kinds of problems for and with others. You can experience a vision. You are motivated and inspired by a vision where the world is freer of war and violence, hunger and poverty. So this is quite dramatic. This almost feels like a not just turning the page. This is like a dramatic reframing. I feel that you are on the other side of some real oppression. Oppression you understand in a particular way because of your position in your social world, your social experience. In the seventh house, the house of your significant others, the Fool. You've liberated yourself from the experience of suffering and sadness, not because you dismiss or deny or distance yourself from suffering, but because you understand the gifts, lessons, and empowerment as it has created. It's created a kind of impermeability. I almost want to say like a Teflon coating, but it isn't that, because you're still vulnerable, but you recognize the power of your vulnerability. That vulnerability helps you to see the suffering of others. It helps you to understand your own suffering better. And that flips your frame so that you recognize whatever comes towards you, whether hardship or opportunity, you are able to see the opportunity. You're able to work through it, not to jump over it, to bypass it, but to work through it. And this, again, is one of the intense gifts of Scorpio. You go underneath. You find the reason why. You understand underneath in order to overstand. So this is such a beautiful card of liberation. And in many ways, it's unlocking some kind of a partnership or compatibility challenge for you. You are open to all of it. You're no longer closing the door and protecting yourself, which in truth is necessary for your creative effort. Creatives need a lot of alone time. That's not what I'm talking about. You're finding yourself open to more influence, more inclusion. Scorpio, if this is resonating for you in any way, please like this video, share it, and subscribe to my channel, Pacific Tarot. Thank you so much for all of the good energy that I receive from all of you. And I appreciate your presence in whatever way you offer that to me. So thank you in advance for that. I'm going to clarify the first house, the Knight of Swords and the Nine of Swords, with the Fool card again. Wow. And the Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune is clarified by the Seven of Pentacles. Let's get these in hand. The Fool card is clarified by, well, a couple. The World card and the Emperor with the Nine of Cups. Whoa. Okay, there's power just pulsating through this reading, and that's one of the energies I'm getting from what I call the Rising Goddess or the Rising Dark Mother. Whatever your favorite metaphor or story is, this is aligned with Hecate, Persephone, Amamiwata, whatever deity speaks to you of the divine feminine power that is not exclusive to women. This is relevant to everyone. We all have these energies within us. So this is really a look at the liberation you are experiencing at this time from suffering, from the past, using your native intellect, your curiosity to recognize that any opportunity, any hardship, any obstacle represents a number of options that you are able to skillfully navigate without denying it, without pretending it doesn't exist, or without trying to go around it. You face it head on because you have complete faith and trust in yourself, trust in the universe. In the fourth house, the Wheel of Fortune is clarified by the Seven of Pentacles. You're looking very carefully at the way you are productive, the way you create value in your life, the way you accumulate resources, the way you earn money, the way you stand on principle. And you're allowing that to the experience of changing your frame is allowing you to see how to work more productively, not how to do more, but how to do what you do and be more productive at it. So this is really about honestly assessing. In some cases, it's the need to work alone, and it's the opportunity to gain assistance, to ask for help. Where specifically you do that in a way that doesn't encroach upon your integrity, your private time, your sacred space. This is a huge learning curve for you because you've always been willing to help others and you allow others to help you, but I believe this is more fundamental to the way that you earn a living, particularly if you're creative, particularly if you have your own business. There are ways we must update our skills and invite in the expertise that will help and that will help sustain our vision moving forward. The seventh house, the Fool card, is clarified by the World. Interesting, because here you go from infancy to public notice, recognition, attention. And this is part of closing down the narrative of your past, your wounded self, your self as victim, your deeper understanding of those experiences and what you've learned from those. How you've liberated yourself is the story that you're telling. You are moving into the public eye in a way that may be uncomfortable, but is not unfamiliar to you. You're stepping up to your narrative. You're not uncomfortable sharing it with others and speaking about it, advocating for it, promoting it. This is major because you understand this is preparation for moving to another level of productivity, heightened productivity. How you manage your vulnerable self in a way that you can display aspects of it that you feel you've healed, aspects of it that should be spoken out loud. And in the 10th house, the Emperor card is clarified by the 9 of Cups. Isn't this beautiful? You are pleased with your path. You're pleased with your process. You are happy about the world that you are creating for yourself, that you have created. You're happy about the model you set for others. You are deeply engaged with your dreams, with manifesting your desires and dreams, with supplying your needs, understanding how to tend to your psychological well-being. Your emotional well-being, your cultural well-being is all a part of your process that you attend to. You don't flee from it. You don't run away from it. But this is what actually makes you contented and satisfied with your life. I'm going to finish this reading, Scorpio, with a flower oracle, and hope this has been successful for you, or insightful, I should say. The agapanthus, one of my favorite, lily of the Nile, and the key words are words of love. Speak with your heart. So when you're out there to the world, you're sharing intimacies, intimate truths. You're trusting your voice and trusting yourself to speak these words of love to whoever wants to listen. Thank you so much, Scorpio, for this reading. Until next time, namaste.